Hey everyone, what's up? 412 Sports Cards here today, back with another video, and today I'm going to be talking to you guys about finding lasting value in the card market. And basically, it's going to be a lot about targeting some markets that are not hot. A counterintuitive idea, we'll get into it. So with so much hype in the card market and so much stuff that's just boomed in price, it's tough to find opportunities sometimes. And in this video, I'm going to explore kind of a new strategy rooted in my desire to limit that downside risk and generate reliable returns. So, you know my strategies pretty well by now if you've been watching my videos. I've always been conservative in my card investments. Usually, did a little prospecting, just the main guys. But ever since the crash of the GOAT bubble in February, I've been a lot more conservative, and you've seen a lot of my content dabbling in that realm of how to, interact safely with cards, how to invest safely in cards. And this video is no exception to that. And it pulls from the storylines of some of the long-run successes I've had in cards that have not been stuff that's gone parabolic, but stuff that's shown, steady growth over time, and stuff that those are cards that I really like owning. So, inspiration, really spurred me thinking about this. I've got to shout it out. Lukas Tigers Brons, Cage in particular, gave a play about Kobe game-used jersey cards, and he said it's not a 6-month play. I think it's fair to argue that's not even a 1-year play. That's a multi-year play. But it's the type of card that you can park money in, enjoy as part of your collection, and it should just continue to grow. Side note, I'm not sure about you guys, but I'm a collector before I'm an investor. But that doesn't mean that I can just buy a card and be comfortable with it going down. I have a really hard time dealing with buying cards that decrease in value. Even as a collector, I don't like to overpay. I like to collect stuff that I think is going to appreciate over time. It just makes it much more enjoyable for me. So that's why some of these cards are great ones for me to target, because they're cards that I can enjoy owning and feel will generate some slow and steady returns. So, show off the Kobe here. Pulled this from a box of 2018 certified. Pretty nice card. Out of 149, I think. Yeah. But it was like a $20 card when I pulled it. So, not bad. But, it was about 50, 60 bucks maybe, summer of 2020. That's like 2 years later. And, right now it's probably in the 75 to 100 range. And that's not an obscene price increase, but it's a slow and steady return, right? And you know what? It's a card that I really enjoy. And a lot of jersey cards I enjoy. But they just crumble in value so fast. But I think Cage made a really good point that no one really wants to sell their Kobe jerseys to get cut up by Panini anymore. Fair point. Should keep supply fairly in check. Which just means these are the kind of cards that, as more and more collectors slowly get them, the prices should just inch up slowly. But you're not talking a fast rise, and it's not going to be your ROI winner. But that's the price you pay for stability. And in the market right now, I'm happily paying for stability. So, with that, we'll get into some of my personal plays that I've been making with this idea. Some of my personal plays that illustrate the idea pretty well. And yeah, but if you're new to the channel, drop a like, drop a sub. Even if you're not new to the channel, drop a like. I'd really appreciate it. It helps me get more content out, helps get my content out to more people, which I really appreciate. But without further ado, we'll get into what some of mine are. And these two Crosbys, I think, are excellent examples. So, not the Young Guns, which has gotten all the hype, but these early patch autos of Sidney Crosby. Now, obviously, I've been buying these just because I love Crosby, right? But that doesn't mean they don't serve as an example of the strategy I've been trying to play around with. And it's a strategy that's countercultural to the current card market. The market today says chase the hype. It says that you can, buy it when it's low and then you sell it into the parabolic hype. Well, that works out well and good as long as you're not buying on the hype. And, it comes down, when the crash inevitably comes, it goes down further than where you were in. It's a scary market, and it's pretty volatile. And the market for those cards are built upon flippers, right? This is, what I think is a big takeaway from this video and this insight. They're built on flippers, not collectors. Cards like this, these prices that they garner are built on the backbones of collectors who are willing to pay up. The cards built upon flippers add additional downside risk in the event that the hobby suffers lost money, which I consider is very real, like money starts to exit the hobby. I consider that a very real fear. And the Young Guns fits this billing, right? It might be the only one of Crosby's cards, I think, that might fit that. And maybe some Prism stuff too. But I love the Young Guns, but, I can't justify putting the money into that because it's just gone berserk since, like, December. So I don't know how I'm supposed to pay up for that when I can get these for so cheap. Like, these are really nice cards. And yes, the Young Guns is iconic. Yes, I'll probably buy one eventually. But, like, cards like this just seem like a safer buy because they're not built on hype at all. So why is it nice to buy stuff that's not built on hype? Well, for one thing, like I said, there aren't the flippers there. And so these cards haven't seen a huge rise in the past 2 years as these flippers have entered the market. And that's really attractive if you believe in the strategy that I'm preaching here. Because even if we suffer a massive correction in the hobby, even if we go all the way down to 2019 levels, which would be insane, I don't think that'll happen. Like less than 1% chance. These cards are going to hold steady because they haven't seen that massive run in the past 2 years. That's not what their value is built upon. Their value is built upon a base of Crosby collectors. And now, there's a chance that maybe, you could see some fast growth, if flippers did get into this stuff, but it's not a guarantee. I wouldn't expect it. It would just be an icing on the cake, if you were into this stuff for investments and flipping. So, I've been in the Crosby market for a while. I bought this one, I don't know, a number of years ago, probably like $300. One with like no patch sold for like $350. Or just all white, sold for $350 a little ago. It's probably like a $400, $450 card. Hasn't caught hype, in the current card market. None of Crosby's stuff really has. But that $100, $150 is a nice slow and steady profit. And you know what? This is a card that I love having. And it makes me feel really good to know that like I can just keep it in the collection. I can enjoy my card. And I don't really need to worry about downside risk. Like the prices should hold the line, hold steady, increase a little bit. That's really fun and kind of helps me, toe the lines between my collector and my investor self. Another example I've given before, also kind of a little bit of a lesson. My 1955 Jackie Robinson, fixed supply, strong historical collector bases in vintage baseball. 7 grade on a 1955 card. You're not going to see many new ones of this. So, the supply's pretty fixed, and because the grade is so high, you feel pretty good that it won't be going up in pop. Now, obviously, that kind of fits the bill, and vintage baseball has been historically collected for so long that we know there are collectors there, and that's what the vintage baseball market's been built on. As the flippers came in, they didn't go to vintage baseball. Now, granted, guys like Jackie Robinson, there's even some early vintage baseball that have gotten caught up in some recent hype, some flippers. Jackie Robinson, no exception. His market's gotten hot. And, it makes me a little skeptical maybe of that because, the hot market isn't exactly where you want to be for this strategy. That's not meaning I'm going to sell my Jackie, but if you were a buyer, I don't know if I would necessarily say he's the best choice to buy for this strategy. Because we are trying to avoid hype and all. But anyways, maybe 80s or 70s baseball stars might be a better one. I don't know those markets that well. You can check them out if you want, though. In summary, I think that just by avoiding the hype, and you can limit your downside risk so substantially. Because you're not buying into stuff that's been inflated in price because of hype and relies on hype to support values. And you just focus on what's desirable to collectors and what's not like a commodity. And you should just see those slow and steady gains. And you can enjoy the cards while you got them in your hands. You don't have to worry as much about them going down in price. And you can generate some slow, steady returns. Anyways, I hope you guys all enjoyed this video. Let me know if you like it. Let me know if you got any ideas for any new videos down in the comments. Drop a like, drop a sub, and I'll catch y'all next time.